welcome to another Women Wednesday with the Empowered Lifestyle by Nick. I'm Lady Nick, and today I have a new beautiful co-host today, and her name is Dr. Dionne Greaves. Well, do you want to say anything before I get started?
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm hailing from the beautiful, breathtaking island of Barbados.
Woo,
Just in
woo.
case you're wondering what is the sound of my accent, I'm from the beautiful, breathtaking island of Barbados here in the Caribbean.
Woo! Listen, if she can just virtually send us some of the weather, send us some of the good food,
I'll
some of
package
the
you
good
some.
music, I would appreciate that, y'all. So just try to reach through the screen and feel where she's at right now. Okay, so I'm gonna read a little bit about her so y'all understand why I have her today. Okay, because our topic today is the juggle is real. Okay, balancing mompreneur life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what that means is we are juggling all the things. Okay, we're juggling being a mom. We may be juggling being a wife. We may be
Mm-hmm.
juggling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids at a time. And then not only that, but our business is our kid too, right? So
Yes.
we are juggling multiple things, including probably fur babies. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so all those things we're going to try to dive into that and see how we can organize our life a little bit and how we kind of go about our day to day. But until we before we do that, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about Dr. Dion. Okay, so Dr. Dion is a business lifestyle strategist and luxury retreat curator who helps high achieving women 10 times their next level transitions by creating alignment in their faith, vision, values, and lifestyle. I mean, come on, because this is all what we're about, right? With the empowered lifestyle. She is a global empowerment speaker who has graced stages in Barbados, Mexico, and the US, as well as UK. She is the visionary host of the Empower Her Conference Barbados, Global Luxurious Island Retreat, and Glow Up Women's Empowerment Conference. Okay, Dr. Dion has been recognized as a Global 500 list honoree, and is it
Korea.
CREA awardee by Brains Magazine. She is an 8-time international best-selling author who is the visionary of Empower Her, Elevate, and Alleviate, and of Top Secrets of a Successful Mompreneur. How perfect is she? Which hit the #1 international bestseller in parenting toddlers and snagged 20 bestseller and new release titles in the US, UK, and Canada combined. Okay, so I want y'all to please welcome her, as she is the founder of the Mompreneur, and she is the Mompreneur CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ladies,
Yes, ma'am.
listen, I love Black Girl Magic. She is sitting here with me right now, radiating all of the magic. Okay, and I just am honored to even be connecting with her right now. And when I was looking for another special guest, perfect for this segment, for my ladies out there that are juggling it all. How God ordained was this, that her book, her best-selling book, has the words mompreneur on it, and
Yes.
that is the name of the title for today. Okay, so this is just amazing, and I just thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me today, Lady Nick. And definitely this was God ordained, because when I saw the call, it was like at the most unusual time for me to even see it. And so thank you so much for having me here today.
No, no, no problem at all. So we're gonna jump right in.
Yes.
And let's start off with how this all began. How did because the juggling didn't, never start juggling immediately, right? It always starts with one apple, and then you have another one,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have another one, and next thing
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're trying to hold all the things, and you
You
just
have
start
the
juggling
whole
all over
apple
the place,
cart
right?
before you know it.
So I want to say on my end, my to Apple started when I had my sons. I was a single mom at the time.
Mhm.
And then I realized, you know what? I'm better than this. I know I can be my own boss. I started off very early. I want to say I was about 19, 20 years old
Mhm.
when I started my beauty company. Shout out to Face by Nick and Company. That's doing very well right now. I
Whoop, whoop.
started that on the side. And then it just kind of went from there. But then I didn't realize that starting this great idea was going to be another fruit that I need to carry,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because now I have clients that need me, right? And then you have your children that need you, and then you feel almost guilty because, well, what am I supposed to do, right? I need to go over here and make sure my business is thriving because it's taken care of now. One of the two jobs I was working, now I can take that job away because now I replaced it. But now you have to work 10 times harder because that's your name out there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's when my juggling started happening. And then I hired employees, and now you got to juggle the employees now, right? You got to do all
More
these
moving
things.
parts.
Right. And so, at the time, my sons, let's just keep it real. Our kids don't understand. They don't understand. They
Let me
they
tell you
they don't
something.
care.
Don't even go there. My kid is all of 6 going on 16.
Yes.
He don't get nothing, right?
Yes.
Because it's like, so I absolutely get the juggle. And for me, my juggle started well before I became a mom, right?
Yes.
Because I
Okay.
worked in corporate for several years,
Me
and I've
too.
always had a high paced, fast, demanding type of job. And so I was managing a team of 20 as an executive assistant. And these were 20. One
Me
was
too.
a senior vice president. The rest of the team were senior leaders across the Caribbean for 10 countries. And so I was literally juggling this thing called, it wasn't mompreneurship back then because I wasn't a mom, but I was juggling entrepreneurship with a team of 20
Yeah.
working full time and building my business. And so I think that was the preparation for me when I transitioned and becoming a mom, because as I shared with you, I didn't have time to prepare for my son. I'm a mom, but my son has been a complete gift from God. And so I wasn't able to carry him naturally. So when we found out that we were going to be having this baby, I literally got a call one night, and this child was
And
coming
they
in
said, "Come on."
the child was coming in 4 weeks. And so we didn't have
Wow.
time to prepare. And so I was literally thrown into motherhood at the same time that I got the promotion to this senior role in the company that I was working for here
Oh
in
my
Barbados, which
goodness.
is a global telecommunications company. And so I had to learn quickly. And one of the things that threw me into this whole motherhood notion and mompreneurship thing was this. I realized that I didn't want to sacrifice time with my son because I'm already working in a demanding space, which was taking so much of my time, effort, and energy. And so I had to make a decision. So when I had the conversation with HR at work, they said to me, hey, well, because you didn't birth this child, you are not entitled to maternity leave. And I said to them,
Oh no.
you can say what you want, but rest assured, I'll be home with my son. Y'all can let me know when I come back,
That's
but
right.
I will not be in here because he was coming straight from the hospital home with me. And so I wanted to be there. I didn't want to have a situation where somebody else was taking on the role that I'm supposed to be, which is his mom. I
That's
wanted to
right.
be able to bond with my son. And so
That's
I took
right.
that time off, and they had this big meeting that went all the way up to Colorado. And they came back with the executive decision that I would be paid for the time off and I would be granted the leave with my son. And so by putting down my foot at that point and taking a stand for my son at that point, as it relates to my job, it changed the entire company policy as it relates to maternity leave, because the company had never dealt with a situation as unique as mine in 100 years of existence.
Mm-hmm.
And so they switched up the
Yes.
entire maternity leave policy, where moms, whether you are a mom by adoption, fostering, however you become a mom, you are entitled to paid maternity leave. And they gave them an extra 4 weeks on top of the 3 months that they were already entitled to. And dads were able to have paternity leave. And so because I would have put down my foot as it relates to having my son, that
Right.
shifted the entire trajectory, that women who even had babies a year before I had my son, they were able to reclaim the maternity leave and go back home with their kids, right? So
Right.
my juggle started long before my son came on the scene. But when my son came on the scene, it became personal. And in that time
Hmm.
with him at home, I realized, listen, I don't want corporate anymore.
That's
I don't
right.
want to march to the beat of anybody's drum anymore. I
Right.
want to be present for my son. You know, our children are so impressionable, and the things that we put into them in their early childhood is so important. And so I wanted to be very integral in that with him. And so I made the decision, hey, I may have to go back to work right now, but I'm not staying there. I gotta
Nope.
get out. I gotta get
Right.
out. And
Right.
how God worked it out for me is that with the promotion that I had on my return to work, it positioned me then to be the executive assistant for this senior vice president. And he was migrating to another Caribbean island. And so he wanted me to migrate with him. And I said, no, I have a young son and I'm not leaving my support system to come with you and not have that support system, you
Right.
know, while raising my son. And he said, you know, you're doing such amazing work. They've never approved for anybody to have a personal assistant or executive assistant who is not sitting in the same country as their direct boss, but I'm going to make something happen. And so he made it happen. So I was able to stay here in Barbados, work remotely from at home,
Right.
and he would have transitioned. And so that was the changing point for me, because right after that, we pretty much came on the scene with COVID. And we all know what happened with
Oh
COVID,
no. Yes.
right? We all know
That
what
was
happened with COVID.
a disaster. Yes. Literally a
Yeah, so I
disaster.
was working from home from since 2018. So when everybody then was trying to, you know, prepare for the transition to work from home, when it was thrown on us so suddenly, I was
Right.
already settled into a groove. What threw things into a loop for me was having my son at home 100% of the time. No, he was just about to turn 2. So imagine juggling a little tiny tot
Right. Right.
and
Right.
still
Oh, I
having
can
this
imagine.
demanding full-time
Oh,
job.
I can imagine. I can
And my husband was
imagine.
building ministry, you know, so it
Yes.
was like all of this at one time, and it was a lot. Let me tell you,
Right.
it was like, and I had to find a groove. So one of the things that I would say to you before, you know, because I don't want to jump too far ahead in our conversation, but what I would say is that if you are a mom and you are building a business, if you're working full time, if you're in ministry, whatever it is you're doing, whatever your dreams and aspirations look like, you have to find a groove that works for you. All right,
Yes.
there's no copy and paste. There's no
Okay.
manual, because people think, okay, you only have one child, so that's easy. Sometimes it's harder having one because I'm his friend, I'm his playmate. I have to be all things to him. And he keeps saying it to me all
Yes.
the time, Mommy, I don't have no company, you know? And so when he has cousins over and stuff, it makes it a little easier because he has somebody else to distract him. But if it is just us, my husband and I,
We
we
are the
have to be his
playmates.
friends. We are his
Yes.
playmates. Right,
Yes.
great people. So imagine being
Yes.
trapped in COVID with this child and having to be his playmate, having to still show up and work, still building ministry, still assisting with community projects, with helping people get food and stuff, and all these moving parts that we had going on. It didn't stop. So I had to create a groove that works for me, because
Right.
what steps in is mom guilt. And mom guilt is
Oof.
so
It's a
real.
struggle. Yes. Yes.
So let's talk about that. Mom guilt is so
Yes.
real.
It
I
is.
mean,
It
you
is
can do a
real.
lot of things in life, but nothing makes you feel more horrible than mom guilt.
It really is. And like, hold on, real set 1 second. I had no idea about the corporate America part. So I was an executive assistant for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I end up going from executive assistant to chief of staff.
Wow.
So and this is all corporate America, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So I was using my corporate job to fund my business until it could take care of me and replace
Yep.
that job. So I completely feel you on that. And I said, you know what? I need to start living on my own terms.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me when I had to ask permission to take my son to the doctor.
Listen. Oh, girl, you
I
just struck a
said,
nerve.
I mean,
Mm.
I felt like I was being interrogated because I needed to take my son to the doctor. They want to know why. They want to know, well, when you coming back. They want to know all the things. And I'm like, can I just take my kid to the doctor? You know what I mean?
And
And
for
it just,
somebody who
it made
shows
me
up
feel
every
bad.
day, and in the
Right.
way that we show up, it was such an insult when they want to do this. And I feel you 100% because my son has asthma. And so he started having
Okay.
crises from very small. So like 8 months, he
Right.
was having crises. And so I would have to rush him to the emergency room. And it would be, okay, so you have to put back in this time. And I'm like, how many
Right.
hours have I worked that y'all
Right.
ain't ever pay me for? You remember Mother's Day when you called and asked me to send an email because y'all forgot, the corporate comms team forgot to send out the
Mhm.
email from the vice president to wish all the mothers happy Mother's Day, and it would have been cat piss and pepper if it didn't happen. So you're not gonna ask me about putting back 8 hours? No, you're clocking hours.
Uh,
Like that's what you want
right.
to do. All right, let's do tit for tat. And
Right.
so my boss and I hit loggerheads during COVID because my son had an accident during COVID. He fell and hit his eye, so he split the corner of his eye. And my boss was on the phone with me when it happened, and my son was howling, and he was like, I said, I gotta go. He was like, no, he gotta wait. I said, no, you gotta wait because I'm gone. And so I put on the phone on him. I went and dealt with my son because he felt like I was doing too much as a mother, you know?
Mm.
And the time he was accustomed to having, he was not having that. He would call. If I didn't answer when he called the first time, that man will call me 20 times in a row to the point where I had to put my phone on silent, not even vibrate, because just the phone ringing, it started to give me anxiety.
Oh
Just
my
opening the
goodness.
laptop, my heart would
I'm sure
palpitate.
there's a lot of ladies out there that can relate to a boss like that.
So
I
you
definitely
have to put
understand
down
that.
your foot, right?
Yes.
And it might feel
Yes.
scary, but you got to do it for you. The thing about it is, corporate does not treat women well.
Mm,
Nobody talks about that.
yeah.
But corporate does not treat women with children, aka moms. They don't treat
Yeah.
us well. They
Yeah.
treat us like second class citizens, and we're the ones who are pretty much keeping things running,
Keeping
right?
it running, and they
So
don't
let's
know
talk.
how to do
Let's
it
stick a pin
without
right
us
there for
because we
somebody.
have that role.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So while we're talking about that part, then how do we set boundaries with clients and family to maintain a healthy work-life balance?
So
I say for me, I had to really put on a schedule. I had to really use outsource. And what
mhm.
I mean by that is I need an admin because in the beauty industry, clients don't wait all the time. My client requests can come in at 11 o'clock at night for all I know, but I have brides that need hair and makeup done and they're thinking late at night, oh, I need to hire a makeup artist. Well, if I
Mhm.
miss the request, they're going to go to somebody else and email them because it's really about who answers first,
Yeah.
right? So I had to start putting my phone down at 10, 11 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And I said, I need to hire someone that is just going to watch our inbox, watch our thumbtack, watch our booksy, all of our platforms for when clients are reaching out. So that way my business is still running.
Mhm.
I'm not missing anything. If there's an email coming in the middle of the night from a client that's worried about something or whatever, and then I started my consulting firm. I have clients that are still emailing and all the things with that too. So what do I do? Because we have to wear the hat of all the staff before we can make enough money to hire
Correct.
more people. So I said, you know what? I am going to start small. Let
Mhm.
me hire a virtual assistant
Mhm.
and start delegating some things that will allow me to get my time back, because the whole reason why I said that I was going to start my company is so that I can reclaim my time with my children.
Yeah.
And I didn't want daycare raising them. I didn't want after school raising them. I want to raise them.
Mhm.
I want to be there and I don't want to miss any of that. And that's what I did regret when I was a single mom with my sons. They had to, they had to get the back burner sometimes because I'm running a company over here, but then they want to go to a pizza place on Saturday and I got to make sure we got money for all of that, right? But now that I kind of, went through my trial and error along the way, and now I have my daughters as well,
Mhm.
that are the youngest. I had to, I tell my sons all the time, I'm so sorry that y'all were my guinea pigs. But now I get it. Now I know my rhythm now,
Hmm.
so my girls got me all the time, and now my sons are off thriving and everything. But thankfully they don't hold it against me.
Yeah.
But you have to you're gonna go through trial and error. You have to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And knowing that you have to hire your weakness, right? My weakness was I can't put my phone down. When a client emails me, I immediately want to reach out, right? But I'm at dinner with my family, or I need to read a bedtime story to my children, or I need to spend some time with them because they just came home from school. So, what do I do? Because eventually something is going to lack.
Well, you see,
And in order to do that, I needed to hire an assistant.
for me, I had to take it a little different to you because for me, I set up things in place on my end for my family more so to get the support in the business. Because what I wanted to do is exactly what you said. I wanted to be able to wear all of the hats, make sure I had everything covered, and I knew how I wanted my operations to run before bringing on anybody to my team. And
Yes.
so when I would have started in 2020, I was still pretty new in my business. And so one of the first things that I did was to hire somebody to help deal with my house because
Yeah.
I realized the keeping it
Yeah.
with laundry, cooking
Oh
and cleaning.
yeah.
Oh
Oh yeah.
my
Because that
gosh,
never
something
stops.
gotta give. And so I realized for me, and I realized for my husband, having the house in a particular order was important for him. And
Yeah.
so I made sure the first thing I did was to hire somebody to come and take care of those tasks. And that shifted things in our home, right? The next thing that I did, I leaned into people for support. So I know everybody does not have that, but sometimes you have to ask for help. If you don't ask, you don't know if you're going to have it.
That's
So
right.
my son has
Closed mouths don't
godparents,
get fed for
my
sure.
son has aunts and stuff, and my son has grandparents. So I started to tap into them. I had conversations with them and said, hey, I am building a business. At first, people thought I was just, fooling around online.
Of course. That's
I
how it
said,
goes.
hey, I am
Mm-hmm.
actually building a business, so I'm going to need some support. It wasn't always a yes. Many times I got pushed back. People didn't catch the vision, and it was like, they don't want to do certain things. But by 2022, people started to realize this girl was serious. And I think
Right.
for them, when they started to see all the accolades coming through, when they start hitting billboards and being in books and getting doctorates and all these things, it became so real for them that when I reached out to ask for help, it was an automatic yes, right? By then, my son would have been a little bit older. He would have been about 4 by then, but I still lean in for that support. So look
Right.
and see where you can create support systems. If you're now starting out with your business, it is understandable and it is wise to make sure that you know how things are going to run. Don't just hire somebody because you know that you need help. You have to know what you want
Right.
the person to do and have
Absolutely.
an understanding, a
That's
clear
what being a
understanding.
leader's about.
So
Yep.
if you don't have that in place yet, don't start there. Delegate in other ways. So it might be to provide more support for your family. One of the things I did as well was to connect with other moms who had kids around my son's age. Now, play groups are not a huge thing here in Barbados. Most persons have a lot of cousins and everybody lives pretty close. So it's that type of family related type of situation or neighborhood situation, so to speak.
Right.
But I started to connect with people who had kids in my age group. And so that made it a little easier as well, you know. So look to see where you can be creative in your approach to delegation because again, it's not a one size fit all.
Right.
You think that
Absolutely.
you want to run out the bat and get you a full team, just make sure you
Right.
have enough money coming in that you can pay that team properly and
Right.
that everybody knows how things are supposed to function. Because the one thing you don't want to do is to go bring people to mess up the beginning stages of your business. You have to have a good
Ooh.
understanding. It is like being pregnant for 9 months, right? And you're at the point of delivery and you decided, don't let me get this midwife, let me go with somebody else, somebody who's less experienced, somebody who's trying to figure it out just like you, and then you're screwed. So you
Yep.
want to make sure you have the best midwife for the job. So there's nothing wrong with hiring a midwife. There's nothing wrong with getting a doula, but make sure they're equipped to handle what it is that you need, the type of support that you need. The other thing I had to do was to have real conversations with real people who were going through my journey, who were moms,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
sometimes we feel isolated when it comes to dealing with the mom guilt. And so I also had a conversation with my husband and I said to him, hey, there are times when I'm going to have to deprioritize you two a bit,
Right.
but understand this is not the theme, but there are times where you're going to have to give way to other things of priority as it relates to business. And he understood the vision. So one of the things is to have that conversation with your key stakeholders, whoever they are, that
Right.
you're going to be looking to for support, just to make sure they catch your vision and that they are emotionally available, stable, and supportive to
Ooh,
equip you
that
through
is really
this
good.
season.
Yes.
You don't want people
Absolutely.
who only rock with you when it's going good. Because there's some days that you're going to feel like crap. I'm telling you, you're going to want to quit. You're going to feel like the world's worst mom. And you need to have people who are emotionally supportive and stable in your journey. It is going to help you. Because being vulnerable about how you feel, especially as a mom, it is okay sometimes to not want to be around your kids. Okay? It is
Okay.
natural.
Yes.
It is okay.
Yes.
Okay, you're not
Yes.
a bad mom. It's okay to lock yourself in your room and put yourself on a timeout instead of them. You need it.
That is so true because listen, as I started progressing along the way, you start to feel kind of like, dang, when's the last time I took my kids just for a walk, just to go to the park, all those
Mhm.
types of things, and you start to feel bad, but you got to remember the goal, right? And it kind of reminds me of what my dad used to tell me, and he would always say, sacrifice. Got to do a small sacrifice, Nick. Just because my dad was always gone in the Navy, and I
Mhm.
never understood that. All I knew is that he was missing my games, and we lived a very comfortable life. But because of his sacrifices, we were able to live that comfortable life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so I had to kind of take a page out of my dad's book and say that as well, to my children. But let's talk about
Before you move on, I just want to
yeah,
share one other point on that. Excuse me. Excuse me. I have a very bad cough. I apologize.
no problem.
But the one thing I want to say here as well, you have to be able to make the time that you do have with your children count. So for me, I
Hmm.
was very intentional about bedtime because I know we would have that bedtime. And to this day, my son is 6. He still comes and lays in my arms, and I get him to sleep every night, right? Yes, he could sleep on his own. So when I do have to travel and stuff, he does that. But
Right.
those are the moments that we bond. So even if you're busy and you're working, you're pressed for time, you may not be into businesses yet. There are those quality moments that you have with your kids, whether it's for eating, helping with homework. Be very focused, make it all about them, pour into them. Trust me, it is not about quantity, it's about the quality of time that you give to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they remember those small things.
Yes, they
They
do.
remember, all I always try to have some kind of routine that they will always look back on. Like, I
Mhm.
remember when my mom would let me cook with her. I always cook with my kids. They love it. It's like our little
Yeah.
bonding time.
Hmm.
And the one thing that we always do when we're sitting at the table for dinner is I say, okay, who wants to go first? And they already know, no, me, I want to go first. And my daughter will say, okay, so what I did at school was, and they started off, I want to know
Yeah.
who they ate lunch with. I want to
Hmm.
know who they went to recess with. What did you do at PE? All the things. I want to know all the things because I don't want to feel like I'm not involved in their everyday. Just because I'm busy throughout the day, I still want to know what's going on. And kids like to internalize things.
Hmm.
And if they feel like, no, mom's too busy, I should probably not say that. I don't ever want them to feel like that. So that's
And
why
I
I
love you
always have
brought
those
that
type of
up.
time with them to feel like, you know what, the floor is open for you to always come and have those open conversations
I
for sure.
love that you brought that up because this week, my son, I was giving him a bath. Yes, he can bathe himself, but I, as his mother, I make it my business to give him a bath sometimes at night if I'm not, busy or
Right,
something. But I try
right.
to do it at least once a day, give him his bath or his dad or whatever. But He said to me, Mommy, I have to tell you something. It's really, really bad, but I have to tell you. And it's something bad that happened at school today. He said, All right, but I'm not going to tell you no. I'm going to wait until I'm finished getting my bath. I said, No, you could tell me no. So then he started to tell me a story about two kids at school who went behind the school and were kissing in his age group.
Oh.
And he said the other boy was telling him, Come and kiss the girl. And he said, No, the only person you should kiss are your parents. Right? And he started to lecture the boy and told him to stop. And the boy wouldn't stop. So he went off and got a teacher. He said,
Yeah.
Mommy, but you know that's not right. And he
Right.
wanted me to do that. And the thing is, my son comes home and again, we are having these conversations. So just as we talked about, cooking and all the little activities we do together, he has these conversations and there's always that open door. And it is so important that even though when we are busy, it doesn't appear that way to our kids because we don't ever want them to feel as if they're an inconvenience because they're not.
Yes.
And so to
Yes.
hold that space for them to be able to have that conversation. So even though he knew to his little mind it was a serious conversation, we were still able to have that conversation while taking his shower. And I asked him, how did you feel about it? And all these different things. And we had a real conversation about it. And so it's important that we keep that door of communication open,
Always.
no matter what our calendar looks like. So I love that
Always.
you shared that.
Yes, yes. And then, also because incorporating your children into your business is important too,
Yes.
because you're letting them know some of the time they don't know what we're doing. You know what I mean? They have no idea what we're doing. And when I'm involving my daughters with my beauty business, they're 5 and 3, but they are excited. They see all the transformations. Or if I go out to a client and I come back, they want to see the photos. Mommy, let me see the photos. So that's the last thing we do as we're laying in the bed for the night. I'm going through all the photos that I took for the day. They love the bridal photos the most. Or if I have a client that comes over to my office area, they want to peek and they're looking to see, what is she looking like? Or my 5-year-old, she wants a shirt like my artists. They all have my company's name on their shirt, and now she wants one in her size. So I always try to involve them some kind of way, because it's very important that when I say Mommy has a client today, they already know. They're like, Mommy, you have a client today? Is she going to be Cinderella? Like, because they think all the brides are Cinderella because of their dresses. So they're like, are they going to be Cinderella today? I'm like, oh no, I'm just doing brows today. So they always want to know, and then, with my consulting firm, they'll see me like doing the bar graphs and all these things to get my clients ready for their marketing strategies and all these things, or my online courses and things like that. They want to know, like, Mommy, is that you? Is that your photo up there? And oh, Mommy, you're doing YouTube now, because they watch their shows on YouTube.
Listen,
so they think
it is
greatest
so cute,
thing ever. Right. And
it's so cute. And it's not how it happens, because
right.
when I started in 2020, like I said, my son was just about 2. And he got so used to me setting up these meetings, and he was like, I want to have a meeting. Because at 2, he could talk really, really plain. So he was like, I'm having a meeting. And he would come, he would set up a mic, because we had a different mic back then. He would set up a little mic and he turns on Zoom and he starts to talk. And he said, I'm having a meeting. And then it transitioned into, Mommy, can I help you put on the lights? So he would come and set up the lights. He would put my laptop, all these things. I remember in 2022, I think, I was preparing to travel and we were heading to the mall. And he said to me, Mommy, you're the Mpreneur CEO. That is the Dadpreneur
CEO.
It
just clicks. Yeah.
I'm the Sonpreneur CEO. I said, really? He said, yes. I said, so you want to have a business? Yes. I said, so what kind of business you want to have? A social media business? I was blown because, first of all, what do you know about social media business, right? But I was like so impressed to see that, he was watching. And this is true. Children do learn by example. And so him watching all the different activities happening between what I was doing in business, what my husband was doing with ministry, because again, he's the kind of child, if we go to do any type of ministry, you cannot take him away from his parents. So if we are doing prophetic ministry, if we're praying for people or anything, he wants to be up front and center, and he's laying hands on people. And he has done this from the time he was like 2. He's been doing this. And so people would be like, oh, you got to move him away. You don't want him. This child will scream until you bring him back because he wants to be involved. So he's very active in ministry, very active in business with his
Mm,
own thing. He said, he wants to have a construction company and stuff because he's into construction vehicles. This child has
mhm,
about 12 excavators, 7
mhm.
dump trucks, and he building this whole thing. And it's just because of the example that he has seen. So being able to incorporate him into my business, it is amazing. Even creating some of my content with him, sometimes he takes my photos, sometimes he's in my photos. And when I'm posting the reels, like I posted a reel on TikTok recently with him, and it was about always be my baby. No, my boo. There's always that one person that will always have your heart. And so we had a
Yeah,
funny
yeah, yeah.
with us and stuff. And he was like, Mommy, this is so amazing. Look at me. I'm such a cute baby. And so I have been, bringing him in different aspects, and he understands that. So when I have to say, if he sees me coming into my office, okay, Mommy, so you're having a meeting. That means I have to be quiet. So he understands.
Yes.
I
Yes,
absolutely love that.
same, same. In my office, if I'm having a meeting and my girls don't want to be separated from me, they have a whole area on the other side of my office right here. There's a nice
Hmm.
carpet area right below me, and they have their crayons that's in my drawer. They took over my drawer. They have their
Same
own
here.
crayons, they have their tablet, anything they need to feel like they're working too, and they sit right here on my fluffy carpet and they're working very quietly while I'm on my meeting. Yeah, they love it.
Same
They have
here. He come and he
taken over
takes
my
up the
whole
paper and he
area.
has pens and he writing and doing all this type of stuff. And I don't stop him because again, our children will be what their environment is, right? So
Exactly.
I have no qualms with
Exactly.
him learning from me. And who's better to teach him than his mom,
Uh,
right?
Exactly. Exactly. That is so important, So I just wanted to make sure I said that because, there's a lot of women that think, I have the business, but I need to do this separately. Like, no, 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 don't bother me while I'm working. Okay, there's a time and place for that, but they should
Yeah.
know why.
Yep.
What are you doing that's so important? Oh, she's helping people, she's mentoring to people, all those type of things,
And this is
but it's
important
kind of
because it
hard for
sets
them
the
to
tone for
understand.
them and how they
Hmm.
relate to the rest of the world,
Right.
right? So you
Right.
can't wait until they get seasoned in their own way and then to say, okay, come and help. They don't want
Right.
to help at that point. So
Right.
people were surprised when my son was like 2 when he was helping to vacuum and mop and all these things. Not
Exactly.
because I put him to work, people, and then put each other to do child labor, but he saw the things that I was doing and he genuinely wanted to help. And so
Yes.
we got him involved. And so he goes and he tidies up his room without being told. He does things. And so when we do that, it sets the tone for how our kids are going to relate to the rest of the world, right? I can't
Yes.
just tell them we have to lead by example.
Yes. So what do we do when the plans you had, right? And everything you laid out so perfectly and this is exactly what I'm going to do. These are the people I'm going to hire, then I'm going to have this person in this place and this is going to happen like that. And the timeline is going to be like this. And then boom, none of that happened that way. And you now need to pivot and figure out the new word resilience
Yes,
and
ma'am.
knowing how to pick up and keep on going. Do you remember a time in your life that you had to do that with your company?
You mean like every day?
Right.
So let me tell you something. It is not a bed of roses without thorns. So you're going to have things that are going to pop up along the way. And so for me, one of the things that I had to learn in seasons of resilience is to extend grace to myself, right? The word of God says that, his grace is sufficient for you. And so
Yes.
I had to learn to embrace and to become the essence of grace because things don't always work according to plan. And one of my
Right.
real life examples would be at the end of last year. I had a phenomenal year, to be honest, with my business last year. And due to bad investments at the end of last year, my business came tumbling right to the ground. And so I've had to rebuild from the
Rebuild.
ground up. And I could have shot myself in the foot because I felt so bad. I felt so guilty, for putting my trust where I would have put my trust and done what I would have done. And so I felt like, oh my gosh. But it was truly a lesson to learn from. And so I had to, first of all, acknowledge what would have happened, honor my feelings about what would have transpired, and then be able to get up, give myself the grace to get up, I wasn't getting up as quick as I was used to, because it really hit me hard, because it was somebody very close to me who would have,
Mm.
created a situation for me. And
It's always that, isn't it?
listen,
Someone that you kind of
it was
poured
a knife
into.
to my
Yeah.
chest, and I had to give myself the grace to get up and to move at a different pace, because again, I was used to moving fast track, so I had to slow things down to really process what I was feeling, to navigate all the emotions that came with it, and then to get to a place of clarity so that I
Right.
could move forward with the game plan. My game plan
Right.
had to shift,
Right.
but I must say I was able to rebuild and rebuild faster. And
Right.
so the lessons
Okay.
that I would have learned from that were critical for this next season now of elevation. So when you're faced with challenges, when things don't work out in the way that you anticipate, now your situation may not be as dire as mine might have been. It might be worse, it might
Right.
be better. But just remember, the first point is to give yourself grace. You're human.
Yes.
We all make mistakes. None of us are without flaws, and we do get blindsided no matter how good we are at showing up as being advisors and coaches and consultants to everybody else. We also get blindsided. It doesn't matter how strong you are in God, it doesn't matter how much you have the Holy Spirit, you will have
Right.
an unguarded moment. So when these things
Right.
happen, give yourself grace,
Grace.
and create space for yourself, just as you hold space for other people, as you hold
Whew.
space for your kids, your husband, your sisters, your friends. Hold space for yourself and
Right.
honor your feelings. It's
Right.
okay. And get up, and God is going to give you the clarity. He's going to give you a game plan to move forward.
Yes, that is so important, because I think I just talked about this on my YouTube the other day. You know, we pour out so much and we give so many chances to everyone else, but when it comes to me, it's like I only give myself one chance. I only
I
give
don't even know if
myself
we
a
actually
little
give
bit of
ourselves a
grace,
chance. Let's be honest. I
because
don't
I
even
feel
think we
like
give ourselves a chance.
I hold myself at a high standard,
Yes.
and somebody else can mess up. Somebody else can mess up. Somebody else can do that, but not me. I can't
Hmm.
let myself down. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Hmm.
And so I think that's why it's always hard for me to kind of give myself a little bit of grace. You know what I mean? I'm always the one that, I got to rely on myself. Other people can rely on me,
Hmm.
right? But I'm the glue. I'm the glue. I'm the one that you got to bring the family together. I'm the one that got to, so it's like a lot of stuff that we carry as women and as moms, that we have a lot of stuff that we're carrying on our back that we also feel like, we're in charge of, and I think it's because we're such leaders, and especially being a mompreneur, we automatically take on the role of being the family manager,
But let's be
So,
honest. Let's be honest. Let's be really, really, really honest, right? We take on that responsibility because we don't want anybody else to have that
yeah,
responsibility, right? We
yeah.
have this
Because are they
superwoman
going to do it right?
complex, right?
Right.
And so we walk around with this S on our chest. Let me tell y'all something, right? Take that S off your chest and turn it into success. Because
Yes.
let me tell you something, you cannot do it on your own, right? And I've had to learn that the hardest way possible, because you have to allow people to support you. You have to allow people to create safe spaces for you. No, everybody does not have the capacity, but trust me, you're going to know the people that are in position to do that. And so for me, over these last couple of months, I had to do that in a real way, right? And it doesn't mean that you have failed. It doesn't mean that you are weak, but you become stronger.
Right.
Put things in place to support you, because you need support, right? You
Hello.
can listen.
Yeah.
You need support,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means that you're so dynamic that you need additional resources, but you need support, and you have to
Yes.
be able to leverage your community. And so I had to learn that in the hardest way possible. As I said, when I fell last year, it hit really, really hard. I didn't know how to get up. I could not self-talk. I could not coach myself. I could not do it myself. I really couldn't. And I had to
Right.
confide in somebody who God would have placed in my life for such a time as this. And trust me, she has been my midwife. What I was able to produce in 4 weeks, as in the last month, versus the entire year, it was because she has been my midwife. So the book
Yes.
project that came out, the magazine that came out, the podcast, everything that I launched in the last 4 weeks She was the midwife. She's the one that said, listen, you got to get up, because every encourager needs an encourager. Every empowerer needs an empower, right?
For
It's just
sure.
because every coach
Yep.
needs a coach, right?
Who pastors the pastor?
Thank
Exactly.
you. So you got
Exactly.
to be real with yourself. And so you have to take the onus off yourself, because life has to function without you, right? And I had a
Yes.
taste of this last year when my son, I was preparing to travel for about 10 days. And normally I would make sure, just like you, I have a schedule. I will make sure I have people to pack, people to unpack, people to do pickups, drop offs, make sure my husband is fed. Not that he can't cook, but I want to make sure that everything is running seamless when
Right.
I got here.
Exactly.
So I'm making sure I
Exactly.
got all the key stakeholders engaged, and I bringing everybody on board, and we have a plan. No, this trip was different. I wasn't able to plan to the degree that I would plan. And I remember the day before I was ready to leave, the Lord said, don't plan. He's got it. And let me tell you something. I did nothing, and my husband did everything. You hear what I tell you? He did
Yes.
everything, and he got it done. And I said, you know what? Sometimes we take on responsibilities that are not meant to be ours. The reason why
Yes.
people lean in so heavily on us is because we've made ourselves the end all and the be all of everything. We've made ourselves the savior. And so we got to take that savior complex out of the way. We got to get that supergirl, superwoman syndrome out of the way, and turn us into success that encompasses having the support that we need. We need to be fed. We need to be watered. We can't keep pouring, because if not, you're going to pour from an empty cup.
Oh,
So it's
yeah,
better
we
that
can't
your
do
cup
that.
is full,
We can't
so
do
that people
that.
can drink from your saucer, which is the overflow.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
have people drinking from your saucer, you don't have to worry about depletion, because there will never be lack. Your
That's
cup
right.
will always be filled. So
Overflow.
my question to you moms out there, my question to you mompreneur, who is filling your cup? Don't just tell me God. Yes, God is going to fill your cup, but
Yes, you need
who
a
is filling
tribe.
your cup?
Yes, you need that tribe. You need that tribe because
Yes,
you don't want anybody around you that just keeps leeching and sucking you dry. You
correct.
have to have people around you that can help uplift you and guide you and
Mhm.
pour back into you so that it's a, back and forth, not just a one way. You
That's
don't
right.
want that. And we seem to always feel like we can save that person, but you can't always save those people, right? You
They're
have
not
your
your
own things
assignment.
going on. You have your own things going on.
Mhm.
So, Dr. Dion, as we wrap up this amazing conversation, which I truly appreciated out there, what's the one piece of advice, okay, that you would give to all the mompreneurs out there, and even the moms that are out there that are, juggling the 9 to 5 corporate America, who are feeling overwhelmed or questioning whether they can truly balance this thing called motherhood and entrepreneurship or just the everyday work life? What's your go to encouragement when the juggle feels like it's just too much?
So when the juggle is real, remember, all things are possible through Christ who gives you strength. Number one.
That's right.
And number two, everything and everybody is not your assignment. Make sure
Ooh,
that
you
you
better
are
preach.
clear, because in this season of motherhood, in this season of momprenneurship, you have to protect your poor. So, what are some of the things? So, you got to take stock of what you're pouring into. How are you spending your time? Just as you look
Yes.
at your finances and say, how am I spending my money? How are you spending
Yes.
your time? Right? Start to do a
Yes.
time budget and see what it really looks like, right? Do an
Yes.
assessment and see, where am I spending most of my time? How am I helping? What are the activities looking like? Am I giving more than I'm receiving? Right?
Yes.
Is it a
Yes.
mutually symbiotic relationship, or is it a parasitic relationship?
You're
Take
right.
some time to assess these things, and start with filling your cup first. When you board an aircraft, I have a friend that says this all the time. When you board an aircraft, they tell you, in case of emergency, put on your oxygen mask first. As
First.
much as you love your kids,
Yes.
you cannot put
Yes.
on their mask first. You
Yeah.
have to safeguard yourself first. When you do first aid and stuff like that, they tell you, if you come across a situation, somebody's hurt and you don't know what has happened, assess the situation before you jump in. You might
Yep.
see somebody laying on the floor. You step in unaware that there's water, there's a live wire, and you get killed. So you have
Yep.
to assess that situation. So before you add anything else to your plate, mom, look at the situation. Do an inventory of where your time is going. and see if you are having an equal balance, an inflow of time and an outflow happening, or if it's a
Yes.
case where I need to shift some things. Are there people who are
Yes.
always taking from you more than, no, they may not be able to give to you, but do you have people in your life who are pouring into you? Right?
Mm,
Look at
that's
how you're spending
good.
your time. And once you do that, prioritize yourself. What do you need for today? Sometimes it feels overwhelming because we don't look at the Lord's Prayer and say, give us this day our daily bread and think about it dynamically. But the Holy Spirit challenged me on this a while back. Bread is not just the physical thing to eat. What do you need for today? What emotional support, spiritual support? Break it
Yeah.
down. What do you need just for today?
Yeah. Your
Sometimes
help.
we want
Yeah.
God to give us
Yeah.
strength for the next 6 months. Hey, He just want to
Yeah.
give you for today.
That's true.
What do you need for today? And just take what you need for today. Just like manna, when God said, hey, take a little bit just for today,
Yeah.
take what you need for today.
Yes.
Be
Yes.
intentional about
Absolutely.
prioritizing your needs and stop overlooking the small things.
Yes.
So when you know
Yes.
you don't feel well, it's okay to say you don't feel well. When you know that you need a little extra time, it's okay to take that little extra time.
Yes.
Right?
Self care.
Sometimes I
Self
want to
care.
get a little 5 minute shower without the door being banged upon. Mommy, mommy, mommy. So I wait and I create moments of peace.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yes.
sit down
You
and
have to create it. You
you
have
have
to
to create
create
it.
it
It doesn't
because
happen
I was
magically.
never a morning person. Okay. But I had to teach and make myself a morning person so I can wake up before the house does. So
Yes.
now I wake up at 5 a.m. just so I can have an hour of no one calling me, no one needing me. I have my time of self care, my
Mm-hmm.
time of maybe I go for my walk, maybe I'm gonna meditate, maybe I'll go do my Pilates, whatever it is. But I need that hour of that morning to myself before my family and the world needs me.
Wakes up. Yep.
You have to mentally be able to get yourself together, or you won't be able to show up for anyone else,
Nope.
right? So
Because the first
that
person
is
you actually show up for is
important,
you.
right? That is
So how are
very
you showing up
important,
for you? Because that dictates how you're going to show up for the rest of the world, right?
right?
So I love that you shared that, because even if you can't find it in the morning time, because it might be difficult at night, put the kids
Yeah,
to bed early and take some time for yourself to do absolutely
absolutely.
nothing.
Yes,
When was the last time
yes.
you had your favorite snack? When was the last time you sat on the couch and watched a movie or a series? When was the last time you read a good book or caught up with a friend? We get so caught up with technology. We have all this technology, but still we are so far apart. When was the last time you actually had a good conversation that was not a text?
Yes,
You
that's
know,
so true.
about it
That's so
and
true.
prioritize those things, because you have to be intentional.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, Dr. Dion, I really appreciate this conversation we had today. I know that there are some women out there that definitely can relate to us and are really feeling blessed right now by all of the gems that we gave out today. And as we're talking about mompreneurship and having to juggle everything, you have a book that is perfect for this situation that they can find on Amazon. Do you want to tell the ladies a little bit about that?
The book is called Top Secrets of a Successful Mompreneur, and it is basically the manual for mompreneurship. So in this book, the women have shared lots of tips and secrets as to how you can navigate your next level as a mompreneur, or even as a mom, right? So you don't have to have a business, but there's some real life tips and strategies in this book that you can actually find to help guide you and to help you navigate this wild, crazy, amazing life of motherhood. All right.
All right. Amen. I mean, that's definitely like a holy grail that we all need to read and make sure that we are inspired to keep this thing called life going and motherhood going. Y'all make sure that you check out her website as well as check out her social media as well, and give her a follow and a like, and make sure that you reach out to her. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to continue to give out those tips and tricks and all those things that we need to keep on going, and make sure that we stay connected in community that can best be fit for you, that can feed you in all types of ways that you need to keep on going. Those nutrients that money can't buy, right? That's what I
Yeah.
always say. You always want to get those nutrients that money can't buy. And that is so important, ladies. All right. So another Women Wednesday. We're gonna see you next week. And I'm going to keep this segment going. We're going to talk about business strategies. How do you launch? How do you even begin to start a business? If you're that woman that's, wanting to launch your ideas, but you're not knowing how to even do those things, we're going to be talking about things like that on the weeks to come as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that share button, or like, and make sure that you share this with another woman or mompreneur that needs this midweek filler upper that's going to help you and guide you along the way. All right. I will see you all next week. And don't forget that if you don't have anybody rooting for you, I do. See you next time. Bye bye.